Okay, so yesterday I did a video on Isaiah Washington and his cooning statement, and a lot of you guys hit me up either through the comment box or my personal messages, and you said that I check out the interview with him and Don Lemon, and no, I didn't. I did the video off of strictly what he said. So I went back, and I did check out the interview he had on CNN with Don Lemon, and my opinion and perception and the words I use towards Isaiah Washington has not changed, because from the interview that I watched, he basically was being very docile and passive about the issues that we have going on, and his approach to how he feels we need to deal with it, I think is highly incorrect. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this video for you guys, and I'll chime in here and there.
I'm doing well. Do you think the difference? First of all, thank you. Go ahead. I think a lot of people, I know a lot of people take issue with the hashtag adapt, thinking that I was implying that white supremacy and racial profiling stop if you were in a different car.
Yeah, this is what you said. You said you were the hashtag adapt. So and people were wondering, is Chris Rock needs to adapt? You said, I sold my $90,000 for safety driving, and you talked about your Prius there. So, do you think the issue is, you think it's the car, the type of car?
I think the issue are many things. From my experience, police, far about the business of policing, right? Again, I obviously have a slight advantage because I'm a celebrity. And during the day, I have an advantage because hopefully they will recognize me. But if they don't, at night, I am, I'm vulnerable like everyone else. But I will say this, since I got out of my G500 and been driving a Prius for the last 4 years with windows that are tinted darker than the windows that were tinted in my $90,000 vehicle, I have not been pulled over one time.
You haven't been pulled over. What should Chris Rock adapt?
There's something happening in his community or wherever he is on that road or coming in and out of whatever that terrain, they're looking for something.
Yeah, you know what they're looking for? They're looking for black males to lock up and put in the prison industrial complex so they can make $1 off them. That's what they're looking for, Mr. Washington.
They're policing something. And the timing, either good or bad, I think the timing for us to have this conversation is that it's good timing and bad timing for all of us, because they're looking for something. Obviously, they're not looking for Chris Rock. Obviously, they have to broken laws, and what you drive shouldn't matter, particularly if you're an African-American man. But if you are at war, which we all know that we are, there is a sentiment in the air that is highly, highly toxic, highly negative. And what I was doing by that tweet was doing exactly what I wanted it to do, is incite a conversation that if we're looking at this term black, and if we're looking at this term driving while black, maybe we need to really look at the term black itself and start having a different kind of conversation.
But I won't understand.
That's what I've been doing.
I want to understand what you said by adapt. Should you drive a different kind of vehicle? What should you do? Because Chris Rock is an American citizen and deserves every right to drive whatever kind of car he wants to, as long as he legally owns it, he is registered. What are you saying?
I did that too until I was driving in Burbank around 3 o'clock in the afternoon when spring break about 6 years ago. I was pulled over in my G500, had the windows up, pulled over, and in the middle of this very small street in the middle of Burbank.
And if you guys are not familiar with, certain parts of Los Angeles, Burbank is, I would say, a pretty predominantly white area. There's a lot of, actually, I used to work out in Burbank. There's a lot of movie production studios. You got Warner Brothers out there. There's a lot of music studios. A lot of things are done within the entertainment industry in Burbank. So I'm very familiar with that area, but also I know that it's not, I would say, a safe place for a brother to find himself. Same as Thousand Oaks, Woodland Hills, Chatsworth, even Beverly Hills, unless you have some type of name within Hollywood, Santa Monica, Torrance. I can go on and on.
I tried to make a right turn on a red light after the motorcycle officer asked me to pull over, and I made that right turn to just get out of the middle of the street. That particular officer at that time, no matter what kind of day he was having, pulled over, ran up to my car with weapons drawn, and demanded that you see my license and registration, and what was I doing? Did I look like I was going to hit somebody? What was I trying to run away? And he asked me who's in the car. And at that time, I said, well, my hands are on the steering wheel. Can I reach and put down my back window? When I did that, he saw that I had my daughter, who at the time was 3 years old, in a front seat, and my son, who was about 6 years old, terrified. And it was at that point, he wrote me a ticket for having tinted windows on the windshield. I explained to him who I was a celebrity.
Listen, Isaiah, I understand your views, and we have very limited time together, but I want to know, what would you have Chris Rock do? What does he need to change, and why does he need to change?
I really feel that he needs to look at the area that he's in, and maybe even visit with the local police officers in that community, because I got pulled over so many times that they should have memorized my driver's license.
Okay.
But,
all right.
So we should do that. We should reach out to the local police officers and question while they're pulling him out.
I know. I understand what you're saying. It puts a burden on him that's not a fair burden, because that burden is not.
Oh, come on, Don. Come on. We are the people that created civilization in this world, and I believe that we are people share the DNA that's going to re-civilize this world again. We've been burdened for 400 years. We can't just use that as an excuse to say that, well, we can't challenge the system as it is.
Okay, but we're not going to challenge the system by adapting and going along to get along. You see, Isaiah Washington is really deflecting the real issue. You know, he's not really, I would say, breaking and chopping up what he actually meant by adapting. Because really what he meant, which is how a lot of certain people within the black community think, you know, age has a lot to do with it, because a lot of people, you know, are scared, they're old, you know, they're tired of challenging the system. And then you have people who opportunists, they want that white check coming in, they want to break back into Hollywood, they want to be liked at work or in their white community or their neighborhood, and they have kind of this go along to get along type of attitude. You know, if you change the way your car looks, if you take off the rims, if you don't play your music loud, you know, you won't have any problems. If, you know, you dress a certain way, if you don't name your kids certain names, if, you know, if you speak a certain way, more in a Caucasian diaphragm, these are things that will stop you from experiencing racial profiling and racism, or will get people to not practice white supremacy, and that's complete bullshit. It's bullshit, and Isaiah Washington is deflecting from the real issue. If you're going to come on here and do an interview, keep it real. Say what you mean.
He's been marching for years.
Okay.
He has to take a stand and get those officers' numbers and find out why he's being pulled over.
I want you to listen to Chris Rock talking about it. This is
you know why you're being pulled over.
Jerry Seinfeld's comedians in cars getting coffee. This is 2013.
And I don't want, you know, this video to seem as if we have people who, you know, every black person that gets pulled over by the police, you know, it's racial profiling, because we have people out here that drive crazy, do stupid things, and they deserve to get pulled over. But we also know that there is a high fluctuation of racial profiling, because they train these cops to do that.
I didn't think it was funny. Like I said, I've been in a position where I was pulled over by a police officer that unholstered his weapon, his firearm, and I had my children in the car. So I appreciate the comedy. I think that's what comedians are out there to do, to make light of these situations. But we are in a situation where we have to survive under extreme circumstances where people are angry, and for those who are practicing white supremacy, they're at war, and they're on the hunt, and they're angry, and they want some kind of restitution and retribution. So we have to really go about the business of having serious conversations on how we survive.
Okay, that last statement, I agree with what Isaiah Washington was saying. We are at war, but you don't win a war by being docile, by thinking that if you change the way you speak, you walk, or if you change the way you dress or the type of car you have, that somehow that will demise or somewhat deplenish what's going on here in America when we talk about racism, being racially profiled, white supremacy, and everything else that is destructive towards the black community. You know how you win a war? You win a war by understanding the system that you live in, understanding how to combat that system, taking care of your family, raising our young men that are going to one day become warriors like us, raising them to stand up and combat what's going on, not to be docile or not to be passive. You win a war by controlling your dollar, by unifying with your people to create change. You win a war by using your vote to construct power and dictate how things are operated here in this country. That's how you win a war. You win a war by communicating with like-minded individuals and collectively coming together to build. Not only build on ideas, but build on our communities. That's how you win a war.